everyone, welcome to another horror review Sunday. You know, it's about time I bring it back. The unicorn mug. I haven't had that thing in a long time. That used to be my little shtick. I'm bringing it back, everyone. Now let's talk about Sinister. Last Sunday, I reviewed a detective crime drama called Fear.com that was garbage, in my opinion. Now we're going to talk about a good crime thriller drama called Sinister. This came out in 2012 and was written and directed, co-written by Scott Derrickson. Now that's a coincidence for two reasons. There's two things I found ironic about this. I just got done reviewing the Hellraiser franchise, and Scott Derrickson directed Part 5, Inferno, my personal favorite sequel. And the composer for this film is Christopher Young, who was the composer for Hellraiser 1, and I think 2. So, what are the odds? So, now let's talk about this movie. What is it about? It's about a true crime drama author who had his 15 minutes of fame. He wrote this novel that was based on true events, and it got him a shit ton of money and fame. And it's been a long time since he's written a successful novel. He's written a couple, but they were duds. But he just wants to find that juicy story that's going to outdo that one novel. He's going to get that another 15 minutes of fame, yada, yada, yada. And he investigates the story of the Bagul, this demon or deity. It's not really a demon. They call it something else. But it eats children. Basically, it takes their souls. Kind of looks like Michael Jackson in a way. At least that's how I looked at it in 2012. And yes, now let me just stress this right now. I love this movie. As I was watching it, I was like waiting for something to irritate me or for the film to go wrong, but it really doesn't. This is almost flawless. Almost. There's a few nitpicks I have with it, things that I wish weren't here, but overall, this is a pretty damn good movie. I probably will be doing some spoilers in here. This won't be a traditional, final thoughts and then spoilers. I might have some spoilers within my pros and cons, so keep that in mind. If you haven't seen this movie, check it out. Highly recommend it. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the things that I do like, the positives. First up, Scott Derrickson. Once again, he is the man. This movie's directing, the cinematography, the shadows. I think I scared myself more than the movie scared me. Like, I was watching this by myself in my house, dark, lights off, and that's the best way to watch it. Because this movie is so grim and sinister. Haha, pun intended. Movie's called Sinister. So, but the the tone that it sets, it's so like dark, it's grisly, macabre. The family that's being hung, with the lack of sound in that scene, it's just that little freaking thing that's like sawing the tree branch. You're like, who's behind the tree doing that? The mystery, it's very intriguing. You just want to find out what the hell's going on. This movie has that cliche, like look it up, kind of like go to the library scene, but it fits. It's excusable here. I know it's a cliche, but it works for this story. The story, I love the story. I love the idea of this Bagul guy who takes children and the look of him. There's an interesting story behind it. Apparently, the writer, he went on some website and he like typed in scary faces or whatnot, and he looked through like 500,000 images, and he found the Bagul in one of those images, and he bought the rights to that picture for $500. And in return, this movie made over 80 million. So that was a killer deal. I'll give you 500 and I'll make 80 million. So, I mean, not just that guy, the whole, everybody, the whole movie and everyone involved. This movie made over 80 million on like an $8 million budget, and then it got a sequel in 2015 that everybody shits on. This movie's not even like talked about. I feel like more often than not, when you bring up Sinister, people just go, oh my god, the sequel is terrible. It's like, but what about the first one? Do you like it? Let's talk about that. Like, this one's good. I've only seen it once before this viewing to review it, and it was back when this movie came out, so I had forgotten a lot what happens. The only thing I remembered, unfortunately, was the ending, so it didn't surprise me this time. I was kind of waiting for it to happen. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this happening. So unfortunately, this was not a first time viewing, and it wasn't a surprise. It didn't shock me, but there are some neat little reveals, a couple little twists at the end that I thought were very well executed. And like I was saying about the shadows, I think I kind of like got sidetracked. I do that all the time. What I want to say about the shadows and the cinematography about this movie, there's so many dark scenes, and it's like shot with like a wide angle camera. Like there's so many like wide angles, and like, there's so much space around the characters, like shadowy corners, and you start to like see things. And that's why I was saying like I was scared myself more when I was watching this, because I kept thinking I was seeing things, but I wasn't. I was just kind of like, you know how when you're at your house by yourself and it's dark and you think you see things in the corner, but it's really like a coat rack or something. That's how this movie it was like shot. It's like here's a bunch of shadows, nothing ever happens, but you think something will, but nothing ever really does. So I thought that was just very effective. I'm not sure if that was done on purpose, if it was a conscious choice to give all these shadows and like dark corners in every room, but it worked for me. I was constantly like paying attention to the corners and the shadows, thinking something could pop up, but nothing really does. So but yeah, love the Bagul, the look of him. It's pretty cool. I don't think it's CGI. There's a guy who was casted for the Bagul, so they did some white makeup on him. I'm not sure. It probably was a mixture CGI. I could be wrong, but I like the main character, Ethan Hunt. Well, that's not his name, but Ethan Hunt supposedly doesn't like horror movies. They had to like pressure him or, beg him to do this movie, and he's like, okay. But now he's doing like Purge, so I don't know. Maybe he had a change of heart. Um, but yeah, his character arc, the journey, like he doesn't believe in the afterlife stuff. And then towards the end, he's like, "Oh shit, I think this is real," and he just gets the hell out of there. Smart decision, but just throughout, it reminded me of like The Shining, like Jack Nicholson's like descent into madness. Except this guy's not gonna kill his family, but he starts out normal and you just slowly see him like unravel and just completely go nuts, and it's just driving him mad and it's just creeping him the fuck out. He's drinking, he starts smoking, and he starts like being ashamed of who he was with when he got his 15 minutes of fame. That's another part of his arc. He goes from I just want 15 minutes of fame while lying to everybody like, no, I just want to bring justice. Wink, wink. No, I just want money. But then towards the end, he starts to feel disgusted about his prior self and how he used to lie through his teeth and say it was about justice, but it was really about money. And I just think the writing of this movie was done brilliantly. Like, there's so many movies where they go to a house and they know what happened, and it's like they have no reason to be there. This guy has a reason to be there. He's lying to his family. They don't know about what happened. They think it's like a couple houses down, or maybe it's around the corner, but they're not near the crime scene. But nope, they are living at the crime scene. And it's smart the way it's written, like why they're there, why he's not leaving, because he doesn't believe in that shit. He just thinks it was some crazy lunatic who's gone now. And I like the idea that the Bagul attacks when they only when they move. And I had to think about it. I was like, well, why? Because eventually, let's say the Bagul kills family after family after family at the same freaking house. Eventually, that house is never getting another resident ever. So he attacks the family once they move from that house to another one, and then it's like, now it's this house that's like tainted with the Bagul. So I thought that was smart the way that was written. And I love the ending. So dark and just grim as hell. I love a good dark ending. And the best thing of all, saved it for last, the Super 8 millimeter film. Those freaking reels that he's watching, and it's a good thing he knows how to like set that shit up. If it was a millennial in this movie, he'd be like, I don't know how this works. Oh well. But yeah, those fucking videos are so scary. And I just think that the fact that they were shot on actual Super 8 film makes it even more eerie for some reason. Just the way they were shot and the lack of sound there in those videos. It's just like, and just the score with Christopher Young throughout the movie too. It just really adds to it. This is a very, very good suspense, psychological in a way, crime thriller. So definitely got very little gripes with it, but I do have a couple, and let's get into them. First up, this movie focuses on Ethan Hunt's character throughout 100% of the movie. So there's hardly any character focus outside of him. And we have this family that's only there because the story in the end needs Ethan to have a family for the Bagul to do his thing. Like, if he didn't have a family, then the Bagul would be like, well, I have no interest in you. I'll just wait for a new family to move in because you're just a single guy. So he has to have a family, but they barely shine any light on the son and the daughter. The son has night terrors. They make him a red herring, like he's going to be the one that probably, is possessed at the end, if you're aware that the kids are doing it. But they don't really set up the red herring all that well. And the daughter, we know she likes to paint, but that's about it. And when the daughter does her thing at the end, there would have been a lot more impact if there was this great bond that was very well fleshed out within the runtime. But we barely get any moments between Ethan and his family. We get more between him and his wife. And even the wife, I think she's a good actress, but in this movie, she's basically two emotions. She's either just calm, housewife, and then just yelling at Ethan. Just like, you lie to us. I just felt like we should have gotten more emotion from her. Like, she never seemed like she was truly pissed off. It just felt like she was giving a performance. So, nitpicky. She could have been a little bit better, but she was good. My other nitpick will be Deputy So-and-so, the guy from It Chapter 2 who plays Eddie, the grown-up version. He is goofy. Like, for some reason, they decided to make his character the awkward, like, fanboy. Like, can I have your autograph? And the way they bounce off of each other, it's played for laughs, and this movie's so grim and dark, like I said, throughout. And then when you get to that character, it just takes a sharp turn, and it's like, whoa, where did this come from? Why am I laughing? Why am I smiling? I shouldn't be. So yeah, just great movie. Final thoughts, awesome flick. It's got jump scares. I'm jumping ahead. Jump scares. I'll say that. Final nitpick. There's like 3 or 4 jump scares in here. Like, face pops up, blah, loud music. Don't care for it. All right, that really hurt the film somewhat for me because I just hate that. Stop doing it, Hollywood. Stop it. But other than that, great movie. Thought it was very eerie, very macabre. Those Super 8 films, all that stuff. Just watch those scenes alone by yourself. Just type in Sinister, Super 8 shorts, like all those things, and that's like the best part. And yeah, great film. If you haven't seen it, check it out, because when it comes to Sinister, this movie is so awesome that you should definitely go out and buy it. And those are my thoughts on Sinister. What did you think about this movie? December is right around the corner. I'm going to be doing 5 Christmas horror reviews every Sunday in December. So look forward to those. Those would be my December ones, like Jack Frost and Elves and whatnot. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Look forward to those. And if you like what you see here, you can become you can hit this like button over here, and you can become a subscriber just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.